Hey, this is Pastor Joel coming to you from the Crossways Center. I wanted to make a video to show you some of the areas of the facility that we want to renovate and to be able to point out some of the changes we'd like to make for our mission and ministry today and for many years into the future. You'll also see and hear about these plans and changes on paper and in person, but I hope this gives you a good visual of what we're hoping to do here at the church in the Give and Love Like Jesus campaign. For many years, the Crossways Center was the only fellowship space for both Lutheran Church of the Cross and Holy Cross Catholic Church. So this space had to be very flexible. Now that we have our own fellowship hall in the former Catholic sanctuary, we'd like this space to be used more permanently in the way that it is today. We'd like to replace the plastic white tables and folding metal chairs with furniture that looks like it was designed and intended to be in this space, to be very warm, welcoming, and inviting for all of our members, your families, our guests and visitors. So when they walk in the space, the first thing they see is an exceptional place to hang out, feel like they can connect with one another, and that this faith community is a place where you can belong. We want to change the loud, echoey acoustics in the room so it's softer and more conducive to conversation. We want to change the lighting so it's not such bright white commercial style lighting, but a softer, more welcoming atmosphere. And we would also put carpet in the conversation pit areas where the couches and chairs are for people to relax and spend some time together in fellowship. Let's move from the Crossway Center down the hallway to the classroom space. We're here in classroom number 10 back in the classroom area of the Crossway Center. You can see that these rooms are pretty small when you put 8 or 10 kids in here, plus a teacher and a guide. It gets pretty congested and it's hard for the kids to move around and interact with each other. So the plan would be to knock down the walls between 2 of these small classrooms and combine them into one larger classroom. We would do that for a handful of our small classrooms, giving us more larger, versatile space. Let's go from the classroom area all the way over to the fellowship hall. One of the main changes we want to make to this space is to transform it from one very large open room into more flexible rooms. What we would do is create 3 separate rooms up in the front of this space, where there would be movable walls to allow us to continue to have one large room, but when we want to close them, it would give us the ability to have 3 separate rooms about the size of our current hospitality room. One of the things we've learned over the past few years is that the hospitality room is the space in most high demand around the church. This would give us a ton of flexibility to allow outside groups to come in and use this space. In addition to creating some flexible walls and room space in the fellowship hall, we would change the lighting, which you can see it's pretty dark in here even on a bright sunny day. We would change the carpeting and the walls, all the finishes, so this looks and feels like the rest of the LCC facility. You can see in these rooms over here, these were the Catholic confessionals. Right now they're just storage. We don't use them for anything else because they're so small and there's no lights in them. I can't turn the lights on for you, so I'm not even sure if you can see me right now. This space in the fellowship hall is under the mezzanine, the second floor, which is currently our senior high youth group area. We'd want to capture this space to be another large classroom or even a conference room for the church. We would also use some space over here on the side for storage for our tables and chairs, which can no longer be stored in the hallways that they once were able to be. So we're going to go from the main fellowship area back into the mechanical room. Right now we're just using this space as storage. Our old pulpit, some coffee bar supplies are in here. We would need to repurpose this into part of our new mechanical space. These furnaces are original to when Holy Cross Catholic was built. I think that's 1981-82. They are primary fuel oil sourced furnaces. You can see the pipes running all over. And secondary is electric plenum. These things just don't work anymore. The company that services them they've even said, you guys need to stop calling us to fix this stuff because we can't keep it running. Last winter, in one of those 35 degree below zero nights, The maintenance guy and I were taking shifts every 2 hours coming over to the church to make sure the heat was still on. Well, on my shift at midnight, I came over and the heat was off. It was 35 degrees in here and the furnaces wouldn't work because the electrical company had switched us over for these to operate on fuel. They just don't work anymore. So they had to talk me through cutting a bunch of wires so we could get the heat going. When they told me that we were going to fix it over the phone, I said, I'm a preacher, not a maintenance guy. We would replace these old furnaces with new high-efficient natural gas units that would reduce our energy costs very significantly. Outside in the ground, there's also a 1,000-gallon fuel oil tank that would need to be removed. Another time last winter, we heard a loud bang back in this room, so I walked back in here to see what had happened, and the fan motor had literally fallen out of the unit. It was dangling by a cord. Coming from the fellowship hall, let's move down the hallway back toward the church offices. These bathrooms would get remodeled and refinished so that they are modern and working properly. And you can see in this pretty cramped corridor space, this is our office entrance. This is where we invite people to come to the church to meet with a pastor, to sign up for church school, or change their offering plan, or any kind of church activities. Right behind this wall is actually made out of pegboard. There's a little door here that goes into another one of those giant old fuel oil furnaces that doesn't work properly. If you happen to be walking by this furnace when it turns on, it about stops your heart. It's actually kind of funny. We joke on staff that you never want to be in this area when it turns on. But guess what? Our guests and visitors don't know that. So if you happen to show up at the church at the wrong moment, you're in for a treat. We'd also get rid of this giant electrical panel that we have all our kids and friends walk by. I think it's 1.21 gigawatts. I think that should come out of this hallway. We'd remove all of this equipment so there's a nice interior passage that's safe, clear, bright, and free from danger. Let's go from this passageway outside to take a look at where the proposed new entries would be. One of the challenges of our building today is that it was designed for 2 separate churches. That's why there are so many different entrances to the facility. What we'd like to do is add an obvious main entrance to the church. It would be the single point of entry for all the activities. So guests, visitors, members, anyone coming to the church throughout the week, during the day, or even for services on the weekend, we hope that they would come to this main entrance. And if you had never been to this church before, it's hard to know even where to go. So this would be built in this area outlined by the white rope. So it's very obvious this is where we welcome you to enter the church. There's also an option to add a covered drop-off loop. This way they'd be protected from the elements as they come and go from the church. This office entrance was created when we purchased the facility. It was never intended to be the main administrative entrance to the church. What we would do is add a larger vestibule outside of our current office area that would be connected with the covered walkway right off of the main entrance and the canopy drop-off that would easily direct people in to meet with a pastor, for deliveries, to check on rental space, really anything that you want to do during the week to connect with the church staff. The new entrances also give us an increased safety and security to our building. Right now, with so many different doors, we never know what's open and unlocked, who's come in when. There have been occasions when we'll discover somebody in the building who we had no idea that they had come in on the other side. With a single main entrance, we have the ability to control the access, both for the administrative area and for the whole church facility, to know who's here and when. Let's go from this new main entrance area over and look at the church garage. One of the most important missional ideas for the Give and Love campaign is what we would do with this garage. We would take out this old overhead door and replace it with a storefront, so this looks and feels like a grocery store for families in need. We would create an emergency food bank, partnering with the YWCA and Great Plains Food Bank. I hope you're as excited as I am for the future of Lutheran Church of the Cross. By making some facility changes and increasing our capacity for ministry and mission, we're setting the stage for a bright and thriving future as we learn to live and love like Jesus together. Thanks for taking the time to watch, and I'll see you at church.